So I went and saw Fantastic Four First Steps yesterday, and I can say without a doubt that this movie is fantastic.
Say that again?
Okay, low-hanging fruit, I know. But it genuinely is really, really good. Probably the best Marvel movie I have seen since Endgame. I say that as a fan of the Fantastic Four, so I may be a bit biased, but I think everyone will agree with me that it is the best portrayal of Marvel's first family ever put to screen. While the older movies have their goofy, older CGI charm, First Steps really gives the group the respect they deserve. I'll be avoiding spoilers for the most part because this movie is so genuinely good that I think everyone that is able should go and see it in theaters. I'll start with the negatives because I only have one big complaint, which is that the aesthetic kind of crumbles if you think about it for more than a few seconds. The movie is portrayed in this 50s, 60s-esque style, with people dressing time period appropriate, as well as owning old boxy TVs with antennae on them and similar technology. However, there is futuristic technology as well, such as spaceships, robot companions, and faster-than-light travel. Do you expect me to believe, for as smart of a man that Reed Richards is, that he could invent teleportation, but not make a flat-screen television? I do like the aesthetic, don't get me wrong, but it just seems difficult for their world's tech to have evolved beyond ours without having all the tech we do, such as the internet and cell phones. But that's really a minor nitpick, and if that's the worst I have to say about this movie, then you know it must be good. And it is. I think all the characters were cast perfectly. I knew from listening to interviews that Pedro Pascal was going to smash the role of Mr. Fantastic, and I had no doubt that Vanessa Kirby would do fine as Invisible Woman. The thing is a little different since his appearance is totally CGI, so the acting was more voice-based than face-based, but Eben Moss-Bachrach, I hope I'm saying that right, sorry if I butcher it, did a more than serviceable job, and the effects department did a great job capturing his facial subtleties and translating them onto Ben's rocky exterior. I was most concerned about Human Torch though, because his characterization had to be adjusted to fit modern audiences. In past iterations, he was kind of a big womanizer and came off as a bit of a hothead, pun intended. But because womanizing isn't cool anymore, they adjusted him to be more in touch with his emotions, because apparently that's what women find attractive these days. Not like I would know. I think Joseph Quinn did a good job with this new Johnny, and I like the character more than I expected to. Julia Garner's Silver Surfer was fine. I didn't really care about her character too much, to be honest. Ralph Ineson's Galactus was a sight to behold, finally giving the Devourer of Worlds a proper, comic-accurate appearance. I loved how they gave him this very mechanical vibe, with a ton of detailed machinery inhabiting his ship as well as his body armor. It really made him feel like more of an inhuman, uncaring, unstoppable force of nature, as he should be. I think he interacted well with the world and the Fantastic Four themselves. Paul Walter Hauser's Mole Man was fine. Again, like Silver Surfer, I didn't really care much for his character, but it seems like they chose the right guy to portray him. On the whole, all the actors deserve high praise for the excellent work they did in this movie. I can't wait to see more of them in the next Avengers movie. But besides the actors, I really like how the production crew tried to keep things as practical as possible, using miniatures and props like how they would make movies in the time period the movie's set in. It just feels so genuine and accurate. Absolutely nailed it. Spot on. I think all of the main four's powers were portrayed well, especially Reed. Whenever there's an adaptation of the Fantastic Four, it's always interesting to see how they do Mr. Fantastic's stretchiness, because it is a really tough balancing act. If you make it too cartoony, then it looks off and too unrealistic, and can even become uncanny in some instances. However, if you don't make him stretch enough, then it's too boring and a waste of adapting the character. I think First Steps walks the line well, with Reed not doing anything too outlandish with his elasticity, keeping it very practical, mostly for reaching faraway objects, swinging around kind of like an orangutan by grabbing onto like bars and scaffolding and all that, as well as a general increased parkour capability. I think keeping his movements tactical like this lines up well with his intelligent character. They also keep physics in mind, so when Reed stretches his limbs far, his midsection thins out to conserve mass. It's those small details that really make a movie stand out. Another detail like that is that in multiple scenes, Johnny has to be mindful of his oxygen availability because without oxygen, a combustion reaction cannot occur and therefore fire cannot be created. Credit where credit's due, this movie definitely deserves some points for scientific accuracy. As for the story itself, I enjoyed it as well. It's much smaller scale than many Marvel movies recently, because here, only one Earth is at risk, whereas movies like Endgame and Multiverse of Madness, the whole multiverse is at stake. However, I think the smaller scale gives it a certain coziness that really fits with the theme of family and the vintage aesthetic. I genuinely enjoyed seeing the first family act like a family, making playful jabs at each other, seeing their family routines. Heck, even the little squabbles make it feel so much like a real family you can't help but to root for them. I also appreciated that the movie didn't waste your time by making you watch the origin of the group for the umpteenth time, instead opting to give a quick and simple diegetic exposition to inform anyone unfamiliar with the family shtick. That way it lets you get right into the action. The movie wasn't heavily comedic, but it had its fair share of goofs and gags here and there, which helped to not make the atmosphere of the movie too doom and gloom. There's a good amount of jokes aimed at parents in this movie, given the fact that the main plot is about having a baby and the struggles that come with that on top of being a superhero, and combine that with the fact that this movie is super beginner friendly, with no extra Marvel knowledge required before watching. This makes this a super accessible movie for families, just as long as your kids know how babies come into the world. Overall, I think this movie is just really awesome, and it is great to see such a wonderful portrayal of these characters who have been so neglected by the MCU until this point. Fantastic Four fans are eating good with this one. If I had to rate it, it would probably score a 9 out of 10. Just a genuinely fun time. I know some may hear that score and think I'm just another Marvel glazer, that I would say that about any new MCU project that comes out of the works, but no, I'm not one of those people. I don't constantly glaze Marvel, because sometimes they just make shit movies and TV shows that nobody watches. Fantastic Four rightfully earns that really high score, fair and square, without any influence from my opinion of prior Marvel movies or Marvel as a company. I had a smile on my face throughout the whole film and was really invested and on the edge of my seat when things got perilous. Hopefully this standard will be kept up with any Fantastic Four sequels and future MCU films where they make an appearance. This movie is a rare W for a studio that has been producing nothing but mid to okay TV shows and movies for the past half a decade. Keep up the good work, Marvel. But yeah, that's pretty much all of my thoughts on Fantastic Four First Steps. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe for more content in the future, and I'll see y'all in the next one.